morning, guys. I'm a couple of minutes late. I was having some technical difficulties, but here we go. We are on day 5. Holy smokes. We have come so far, right? So today is our final day. Today's day 5, and I hope all of you are feeling so much better so far, whether it's feeling like some of the relief from de-bloating, or hopefully you've gained some value over the course of the last few days. Hey Lindsay, how are you? Hey Hannah. But yes, I hope you guys have learned so much so far. I am here to provide one more day's worth of value, and hopefully the things that you learn over the course of the last 5 days, hopefully you'll what am I trying to say? The goal is consistency, right? So we need to practice these things consistently in order to see consistent results, to keep the bloating down, to help with fat loss. So we are a product of what we consistently do, right? So I hope so far you've learned some things, and I hope that after the 5 days that you'll continue to practice these things, because these are simple tasks, right? And sometimes simple is actually what makes the biggest impact in our overall health, well-being, and the way that we look and feel. So, all right, guys, today we are going to talk all about sleep and how important it is for helping you de-bloat, and then obviously, help with fat loss as well. So before I dive in to talking about sleep, just out of curiosity, I would love to hear, how much sleep do you get per night? I'd love to see, what is your current sleeping scenario look like? How many hours of sleep do you get per night? Please drop that down below in the comments, because I just want to know, how much sleep are you getting? And also don't forget too, that if you're watching this live, to say hello, and if you're catching the replay, I want you to comment #replay so I know that you got all this info on sleep and how important it is for you. So let me know how many hours of sleep you're getting. And I'm going to talk to you later on about how much sleep you should be getting. So I want to see how those match up, how it compares to how much you're getting versus how much you should be getting in order to, feel your very best. And awesome, Hannah gets a good amount of sleep even with a baby. So that's super awesome. 7 hours is so great. All right, so let's talk about sleep, shall we? Or what happens when we lack sleep, I should say here. So a lack of sleep affects us in so many ways. So sleep is so important. So getting enough sleep is going to be critical for your health and overall well-being and de-bloating. And if you are not getting enough sleep, then this can actually contribute to your bloat, right? So a lack of sleep can it can affect us in so many ways. When we don't get enough sleep, our bodies release a stress hormone. Do you know what it's called? Because we've talked about it already before. So our body releases a stress hormone called cortisol. And, when we have elevated amounts of cortisol, this is going to disrupt our digestive system and cause things like bloating and even constipation. And so a lack of sleep also causes us to, crave certain foods, such as carbohydrates, sugary food items. And obviously when we're over consuming those types of foods, that can lead to overeating, and then oftentimes make you feel bloated, right? So how many of you, I'm sure I've got a lot of moms in here, so there's probably a lot of you, and even if you're not a mom, how many of you have ever pulled like an overnighter and the next day you just felt like extremely famished, like you couldn't put enough in your face, like you were so hungry? I know I've been there, because again, mom life, but you can experience this even if you're not a mom. But yeah, so if you lack sleep, the next day you might feel like you just can't stop eating, and you might be thinking to yourself like, oh my gosh, what the heck is wrong with me? And the thing is there's nothing wrong with you except for the fact that you probably but you just lacked some sleep. You probably didn't get enough sleep the night before. So when we don't get enough sleep, even if it's one day, the next day we're kind of likely to feel super hungry because of a sleepless night. And research shows that the reason behind this is due to hormonal shifts that can happen. So when you don't get enough sleep, ghrelin is our hormone that actually stimulates appetite. So ghrelin causes us to feel more hungry. When we don't get enough sleep, our ghrelin shoots up. So that's why we're hungry. And then at the same time, our leptin hormone, this is the hormone that actually lowers appetite, this takes a dive. So our ghrelin shoots up, so we're super hungry, and then our leptin levels, which is the hormone that kind of keeps us feeling satiated, it plummets. So we're setting ourselves up, from a hormonal standpoint to feel super hungry, which is going to cause us to probably reach for, carbohydrates and overeating. And oftentimes that can cause some bloating. And if we do this consistently, it can lead to some fat gain as well, right? So when we experience a lack of sleep, our stress hormone shoots up. So there's lots of hormones involved here, right? There's ghrelin, there's leptin, and our cortisol. There's lots of hormones that end up being affected. So a lack of sleep, our stress goes up, our cortisol goes up, and what that's gonna do, if this happens over a course of, a long time, if it's just like here and there, it's not going to be crazy impactful. You'll probably still feel hungry. But if this happens over a course of time, it can cause intestinal permeability issues such as like leaky gut. And leaky gut is where your food and toxins are actually able to pass through the intestines and then into your bloodstream. And when this happens, a lot of times this is going to cause bloating, inflammation. It can cause stomach pains, food sensitivities, and overall changes to your gut microbiome. So again, sorry, I should have turned my hold on just 1 second. Got to turn this off so I don't get all sorts of interruptions here. So this is just some of the important reasons why getting sleep is so important. It's going to obviously affect our hunger. It's going to affect our gut health. And yeah, over time, it can really be, quite impactful on our overall well-being. I mean, if you get one night of sleepless, of a lack of sleep, the next day you probably feel a little crazy almost. And there are some things that we can live without. So we can live without food for several days. We can't live without water, but we can actually live without food. But when we actually need sleep to survive. And one of the reasons that sleep is considered so important is that it allows your body time to rest and repair. Sleep gives your brain the time it needs to consolidate memories. It increases the blood supply to your muscles, and it even, gives new tissue time to grow. So if we're not sleeping and getting rest, our body doesn't have the chance to rejuvenate itself. And that's why if you, feel a little crazy after a few nights of sleepless nights, there is a causation to that. You can actually literally go crazy if you don't sleep. And I've experienced that. I feel a little crazy after, a few nights of not sleeping very well, right? And just some other tidbits too, during the day, a person's body needs a lot of glucose. And glucose is your body's main source of energy, right? And this glucose is going to help fuel your muscles, your joints, your nervous system, and it helps with healthy digestion as well. And this means that the digestive system is actually going to be working all day long to help break down food to meet this demand that your body needs, to break glucose down into energy. So if you are not sleeping, so your body needs a chance to not worry about digesting food for a while, right? And so if your body's in a constant state of breaking down this glucose and constantly working to basically provide you energy, it's gonna be overworked. So we need that time to sleep, and sleep deprivation is, going to cause, like I said, a lot of these issues, which we've talked about so far. So let's see here. What are some ways that we can get some sleep in? So we're gonna want to, if you're someone who, so first of all, how much sleep should we be getting? Let's answer that question. So studies show that like the best amount of time of sleep is going to be between 7 to 8 hours. You might have heard like 7 to 9, but from the studies and research that I've done, between 7 to 8 hours is kind of like that ideal amount of sleep. And you want it to be unbroken. And of course, as moms, or sometimes even if maybe you're a dog mom or something like that, sometimes that's out of our control, right? However, we just want to start practicing a good nighttime routine. Just like children have a bedtime routine, us as adults, we need a bedtime routine too. Our body craves and thrives off of predictability and routine. So just like your children or just like kids need a bedtime, we need, a bedtime routine as well. So some things that you can do in order to help you get more sleep there's several things you can do, right? Go to bed earlier. If you're someone who stays awake and scrolls Facebook or, is on their phone right before bed, it might be better off to turn that screen off and focus on, getting to bed a little bit earlier. Eliminate your binge watching of, Netflix shows, and actually prioritize sleep. And with my clients that I work with in the Fit as a Mother Method program, I prioritize sleep over even workouts. Like if you are going to sacrifice your sleep to get a workout in the morning, I'm going to tell you, prioritize that sleep. I don't want you waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning just so you can get a workout in before work if it's going to, cut into the amount of time that you're getting sleep. So sleep trumps everything, even over a workout. I'd much rather have you sleep than prioritize working out. It's that important. So some ways that you can, focus on creating, I want you to create a bedtime routine, right? So if you're not getting 7 to 8 hours, or even if you are, it's still good practice to have a good bedtime routine because the quality of sleep matters too, right? So some things that you can do to help you with getting more sleep or hitting that sleep goal would be, I think I mentioned it a few seconds ago, try to go to bed, a half hour earlier or an hour earlier. Sometimes maybe a half hour is more realistic in the beginning. And then once you've been able to consistently go to bed a half hour earlier, add on an extra half hour. So making small, little mini goals to help you reach your sleep goals. Turn off your devices an hour before bedtime. If you are someone who is watching TV, if you are scrolling your phone, or if you're working on your laptop or computer, those blue lights are going to actually stimulate your melatonin, and it's going to make it really hard for you to get ready for bed. You're going to be overstimulated. Those blue lights are kind of like UV lights, and it's going to keep you awake. So turn your devices off an hour before bed, at minimum a half hour before bed, and that should really help you be able to fall asleep, especially if you're someone whose brain goes crazy at night. If you're feeding yourself all this junk on social media before bed, your brain's just not going to turn off, right? So that's another thing you can do. Make sure that your bedroom is dark. So if it's not dark, maybe get some blackout curtains. Try to close your doors, all that, so it's nice and dark. And you want it to be cool in your room as well. So you're gonna get much better sleep when it's actually a cool environment. Things like, taking magnesium glycinate before bedtime can help to get your body in a restful state, and magnesium is great for a lot of things, but taking some magnesium, taking a nice Epsom salt bath before bed. I gave you if you go on the email list, I shot you over an email this morning, and there's a bunch of of ideas on how you can help yourself get into a good bed routine. So my action step for you today and every day moving forward is to aim for 7 to 8 hours a night. If you're nowhere close to this, then just try to tack on a half hour more at a time until you are reaching this goal, and come up with a bedtime routine. I want you to come up with a bedtime routine that you can consistently stick to, and the more consistency you have in sticking to your plan, the better sleep results you're gonna get, right? So at this point, I think that was most of what I had to talk about for today. I mean, we could talk forever and ever about sleep, but those were some of like the main points. So to kind of wrap this up, if you are not sleeping 7 to 8 hours, you're probably more than likely going to experience bloat. If you are someone who does experience like a decent amount of sleep, and then maybe you had one night of, crappy sleep, it was like maybe 3 or 4 hours, but like even 4 to 5 hours, and it was broken up, most likely you're probably going to gain weight the next day. So if you're someone who, had a crappy night's sleep and then food-wise everything was great, and you jump on the scale after a crappy night's sleep, chances are you're probably going to see the scale rise, and that can be due to stress. And stress will cause us to hold on to water retention, and it can cause weight gain on the scale. It doesn't mean you gained fat overnight, but it's just one factor that can affect our scale number. So, and actually, I'm going to throw in one little extra tip too. If you're someone who has digestive issues, sleeping on your left side can actually help naturally allow gravity to help you digest your food. I'm such a right side sleeper and I have bad digestive issues. So this week I challenged myself to sleep on my left side, and so far it seems to actually be working. So our food flows to the left in our digestive tract. So if you naturally just sleep on your left, you're naturally letting gravity kind of, do its thing to help it go through your intestines. So little tip there. Anyway, all right, guys, that was my 5th tip. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Please prioritize sleep and get those 7 to 8 hours a night. And this is our final tip. This is our final video in the 5-day challenge. Although I lied, I will go live tomorrow just to kind of wrap things up, right? And like give you the what's next. Like, now that we've done these 5 days, what's next? What do I do? So I'll be going live tomorrow, but just as a reminder, there is still $50 cash up for grabs, along with a 4-week customized workout program with some one-on-one coaching. And the way that you get in on this drawing is, remember, every single day I need you to go in and engage with each video. So if you haven't engaged, you still have time. I'm gonna cut this off by midnight tonight. So you have till midnight tonight to engage in all 5 videos if you want in on that $50 cash prize and 4-week program drawing. So that is the next little giveaway. We'll be doing that giveaway Monday, but the cutoff is tonight at midnight. So if you haven't had a chance to go watch all the other videos, take the time today to do so. Engage in those videos and you will get yourself an entry to the final prize. Super excited. And yes, if you guys have any questions on anything, let me know. If you got value out of today's video, please comment #value. Yes, #value, and share with me what your biggest takeaway was from today's video. I want to just get more insight on what information, has really resonated with you. So let me know what resonated with you today, and I can't wait to see what you guys have to say. All right, you guys, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Hi, awesome, Miley. Have an awesome Friday. And I know it's the weekend, so sometimes weekends can get, crazy. Still try to practice all the things that we have gone over the last 5 days. If you want more information on, what I do in terms of coaching with my one-on-one clients in the Fit as a Mother method, I'd be happy to give you some information. If you want to learn more, just say more info below and I can shoot you a message on, what it looks like to work with me on a one-on-one basis and, get and maximize your results. Anyway, have an amazing Friday. And thank you so much for joining this 5-day challenge. I'll see you tomorrow.